first guest tonight is an exceptionally funny man who looks pretty normal, but is not at all. The same can be said of his talk show. It's called Everybody's Live with John Mulaney. It premieres Wednesday on Netflix. Please welcome John Mulaney. Hey, first of all, I want to say thank you for coming, and also thank you for coming out so quickly. We've had Olympic athletes on this show. Yeah. We've had, I think we've had Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, on the show. They say. Yeah. Not even close to as fast as you were.
Not even close. And I made time for Guillermo, and then I made it, it was perfectly timed.
It really was.
Absolutely.
And they say that to be a great comedian, you must have perfect timing.
They say to be a great comedian, you should rush out in sort of a frenzy and really be off-putting as quickly as possible.
You had since the last time you were on the show.
Yeah.
And that is the only thing that really counts. Any interactions we have in between
Any other
the
milestones,
show.
Yeah, they don't matter.
They don't matter. You got married. You had a baby girl.
Yeah.
That's it, really, though, right? That's those two things.
I did a Broadway show with Richard Kind.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's right.
I don't know. Not equal, though, by any means. Not equal to the birth of my daughter by any means.
How old is your daughter now?
She's almost 6 months old, and she's about 20 pounds. When she takes any kind of acetaminophen liquid, she's taking a 12-month-old's dosage. That's based on weight.
She's big, huh? Wow.
She's big, and she's got a strong neck and a real presence. I really like her.
There is an age at which you will have to stop bragging about how big she is,
That's what they say.
That's what they say, yeah.
But I'll always brag about her neck. Look at my daughter. She holds herself up.
Her name is May.
Her name is May, yeah. M-E-I.
E-I. Yeah. And her middle name is June.
Yes.
Did you do that to be funny?
No. I'm a professional comedian, so if I was going for funny, it might be a harder laugh than May next to June.
Yeah.
Well, Olivia's mom's name is Jung, so we were doing an Americanized tribute to her.
I see.
By naming her June. Originally, our daughter was going to be named June for a while, and then suddenly I went, June Mulaney. Sounds like John Mulaney said weird. So we said, how about May, which means plum in Chinese.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so she's May June. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll accept that.
Yeah.
And your wedding, I know people like to hear about people's weddings. Tell us about your wedding, if you would.
Well, our wedding was was a very simple ceremony. We were married by Sam Waterston from Law and Order, The Killing Fields, and a co-star of Olivia's on The Newsroom, who once said to Olivia, if you ever get married, I'll perform the ceremony. So
he did?
Yeah.
Why did he say that?
I think it was chit-chat, but, you take people up on what they offer. Remember, you were once like, hey, if you're ever falling on hard times, you can live in my guest house.
Yeah.
Bam.
There you were.
Yeah, there I was.
Wow. So Sam married you, and how old is Malcolm, your son, now?
Oh, he turned 3 in November.
Okay.
So over the summer, he was a 2-year-old. He was at our wedding in a little tuxedo and shorts.
Cute.
Yep, and he didn't ask at any point, like, oh, you two aren't married yet? Which was nice and polite of him.
That's nice, yeah.
And then he actually went to the bathroom in his diaper during it and announced it.
What do you mean he
Mid-vows.
Mid-vows?
Yeah, very sweaty little 2-year-old in a tuxedo just went, I'm pooping.
I like that he announced it while it was happening and not before or after that it
Well, it's
happened.
really an in-the-moment kind of declaration.
Yeah. It does show that he knows how to be in the moment.
Yeah.
So things are going very well for you personally.
Life's been fantastic.
Something did happen with us on television between the last time you were here on the show, and that's you and your friend Nick Kroll were contestants on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which I was hosting.
Yes.
And playing as a team.
Yes.
And you guys did pretty well.
Did we?
You got up pretty high before going down.
What were we at, $32,000 we walked with? That's split between the two of us?
But you got up to $125,000.
And then we crapped out there.
Yeah.
And we fell back to $32K.
Yes, you announced, I'm pooping, and you went right down.
Yeah. We walked out of there with $16K apiece for our charities.
Yeah, that's right.
They weren't that psyched. They were out shopping for $500,000 charity furniture and things.
Did you even get a thank you note from them?
I don't recall.
I do feel partially responsible for the fact that...
Well, listen.
Yeah.
You said, would you guys like to come do this? And I said, this is great because we're friends with you and we're celebrities. So I thought it was going to be like, there's no way we're going to just lose on TV, right? Then right before we go out there, this British guy comes in with a lawyer and he goes, you must declare you were not given the answers before. I was like, what is this about? This is serious. And we get out there, and they really did. We lost when we got the questions wrong.
That's a
There was
game show.
no. I know, but I thought there'd be some kind of.
I don't know why you would think that. They've made whole movies about how that's illegal and you could go to jail for it.
They made one movie.
You're right. They made one movie.
But it's a really good movie
right now.
Yeah.
So,
if you recall, we wasted a lot of time on a question about Easter Island.
we wasted a lot of time on a lot of things.
We did.
Yes. There was no time limit, though, so wasting time meant nothing.
Well, it started at, I don't want to spoil the magic of showbiz, but I think we were starting taping at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So by the time I leave with $16K in hand that I've got to give to a charity, it was like 11 a.m. I remember I just went home and sat on the bed. I had envisioned this whole day of winnings rolling in.
This was a question about the show Succession on HBO.
That was the final one, yeah.
Yeah.
We had wasted our lifeline with Jon Stewart on Easter Island.
Yeah,
And then we got that wrong. And now we came to what we thought was going to be a walk in the park.
Okay, let's look at the clip.
Do you want to ask Jimmy?
I don't know.
We're up in the final few questions.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel crazy to fly with no lifeline.
Do you want to ask?
We're going to ask, we'd like to ask you, Jimmy, what you think the answer is.
My final answer, and I'm sorry, but I feel like I've been affected by your answers, is A.
Okay, great.
Hideously expansive.
Great.
Wow.
Oh, you know what?
Bad writing.
I blame the writers. We approached it incorrectly.
That's not a good... I got to work on my losing poker face.
Yeah, no, you looked at me
I
like...
scowled at you. Yeah.
You jerk. Yeah. But $16,000 is pretty good.
Yeah, it was really cool.
What was the charity you played for?
The Innocence Project.
I didn't think you would even remember.
No, of
No,
course.
you did
They help
remember.
people get off death row, and now they have a little more money to do. Innocent people.
Innocent people.
Sorry.
John Mulaney is here with us. We'll be right back to talk about his show, Everybody's Live with John Mulaney. John Mulaney is with us. Jack Quaid is on the way. John, you last year your show was called Everybody's in L.A. with John Mulaney.
Yeah.
Now it is called Everybody's Live with John Mulaney.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody's Live with John Mulaney.
You aren't sure about it?
Well, earlier today I asked someone, is it Everyone's Live or Everybody's Live? So we're double checking a lot at the office, which is good.
Will you be changing it slightly each season?
I think so. I
Why
think that's
did
the
you
way
change
to...
it this
Well, we did 6 episodes in a row last May, and we explored a lot of topics that were very central to Los Angeles at that time. Earthquakes, coyotes, hauntings, the future of LA, as well as palm trees. Every major topic that might affect LA except one. Then we expanded outside of LA, and so I was figuring out the title. They really wanted me to get live in there. At one point, Netflix said, why don't you call it John Mulaney Live? And I was like, well, there's a show a quarter mile away called Jimmy Kimmel Live.
That actually isn't live anymore, but yeah.
But you're alive.
Yeah, no, oh yeah, I am. Well, thank
And
you
there's
for
a
saying
joie
that.
de vivre about the atmosphere.
So
Netflix has a lot of data on titles, and they'll tell you what works and what pops.
Oh,
and then I
really?
saw that they have a show called Apple Cider Vinegar. So
Which is popular.
it is popular. People love apple cider vinegar.
They do. They take it for a variety
They
of
spoon that
unproven
Dr.
reasons.
Bragg stuff.
Yeah, the Dr. Bragg stuff. So what have you learned from season 1 that you are now going to carry over to this new season?
That's the bummer, is it went really well.
It
last
did go
May.
really well. It was
went
very
really
funny.
well. It was very fun. It was very enjoyable to make. And most of my instincts paid off, which is a terrible lesson.
Yeah.
Like I was like, everything I think of just just rolling sevens
It's
here.
like being Donald Trump.
It's like,
really what
yeah,
it
it's
is.
really
Yeah.
like being Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Now, was I humbled a month later on Celebrity Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Absolutely.
Sure, yeah.
That brought me back.
I think we both were, yeah.
Yeah.
And why Wednesday? Why is the show on Wednesday?
Well, Wednesday is traditionally the hottest night of the week. Well, there's another live show on Saturdays that you wouldn't want to compete with. Then there's Friday night. So I go, let's do Friday night. They go, we have wrestling on Friday night. I go, okay. So we got to devote our live time to wrestling. I go, that's fair. I go, what about Thursday? They go, we have new shows premiering on Thursday. So we wouldn't actually be able, we wouldn't help your show because we'd be pushing our other shows. I go, okay, not very nice. So then I'm driving and I see a billboard for Monday Night Raw. And I go, wait, wrestling's on Mondays. So I call Netflix. I go, what's the deal? You said wrestling was on Fridays. They go, that's international wrestling. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Wouldn't want to step on the beloved hit international wrestling. So they said, what about Wednesday? And at this point, I was so tired of the conversation, I went,
You agreed to
that's
Wednesday.
fine with me. Yeah.
And you're comfortable with it being Wednesday.
I'm comfortable.
Celebrities are available on Wednesday?
Somewhat.
Let's see what you have here for your first show. Your first guest, or the first show this new season, Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Joan Baez.
Yeah.
The great Fred Armisen. Cypress Hill.
Yep.
And personal finance columnist Jessica Roy.
From the San Francisco Chronicle.
Of course, everybody's favorite. Now, will this be Jessica Roy's first time working with Cypress Hill?
I'm not sure. You know, she writes a personal finance column, so they could have crossed paths at any number of media events. But it might be, yeah.
I think, will you, as I know you are inclined to, the guests will intermingle.
Yeah, everyone's out there the whole time, pretty much. And we take live calls.
Okay, yes,
Right.
and you do take live calls.
Yes,
yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I think the most fun part of the show.
I think it's about as fun as it can get.
Yeah, because it suddenly turns into Larry King from like 1997.
Except Larry's guests were a little faster on the uptake of getting to their anecdote or their opinion, you know, on like Jennifer Flowers or whatever they were calling it.
Right.
My show's a lot more Gen Z and millennial people who kind of go, hi. And I go, hey. And they go, hi. And I go, have you met a ghost?
Yeah.
And then they move a little.
And a lot of people did say they'd met a ghost.
Yes.
I do want to mention this because you were part of an Emmy-winning show that David Letterman does on Netflix. He does the show.
I was a guest, yes.
Yeah, you were a guest on the show, but then the show was just you and Dave, and then it won an Emmy.
It was me and Dave and another special guest, which was my dad.
Your dad.
Came on the show, and there was a dinner scene that ended up in My Next Guest Needs No Introduction, where my dad and I have dinner and talk about fatherhood and lots of things with Dave.
The last time you were here, I believe you said that your dad was unimpressed with meeting Dave.
He thought it was an equally big deal for Dave to get to meet him, I think was like the stakes. And you know what I forgot to mention was my dad had a hard out. From
What?
that, yeah, he goes, I gotta be out at 5.
Why?
Because the parish priest was coming over to my parents' apartment to like hit him up for money.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, that feels like a you don't have to be on time thing. He's like, I can't keep Father so-and-so waiting. I was like, I think you can.
Yeah, I think Father so-and-so would understand that David Letterman was there, but I guess not. But okay, so anyway, David Letterman.
My dad got to know Letterman that night. He hadn't really watched his show ever, but he got to know him, and they became fast friends.
You got this week, right?
This was on Friday night.
This is on Friday night. This arrived
To my dad's apartment.
to your dad's apartment. It is, as you can see, an Emmy.
Yes.
And this note was, would you like to read that, or
Yes.
shall I? Yes.
Hello, Chip. Here's hoping you and all are enjoying all one enjoys out there in Chicago. I found this extra Emmy in a closet, and I told the kids, let's give it to Chip. So here you go. I hope you love it the way television people love it, and it's solid gold. Congratulations and love, Dave Letterman.
Now that's pretty.
Yeah.
I think this hard to get routine that your dad paid off.
It
with
really
Dave.
paid off big. So then my dad's like, you know, it's heavy, you know, and you got to be careful of the wings because they're fragile. I go, yeah, I have
He is an
them
attorney.
myself.
Yes. Was he excited about this?
He was really blown away.
Was he?
And then he had this great Midwestern reaction to like the greatest Midwesterner David Letterman ever. He was like, do I send it back and say, no, I couldn't possibly? And I was like, I think it's a keep it type gift. We're not going to just ship this back and forth
Yeah, right.
across the country.
So he's going to keep it. Will he?
He's blown away.
Will he display it in his office?
100%.
All right.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
won an Emmy. Sort of.
Kinda, sorta,
Yeah.
close enough.
He has an Emmy.
He has an Emmy.
Yeah,
there you go. I
say
can't wait to see the show. It's called Everybody's Live
And
with
but
John
wait,
Mulaney.
Jamie, I just want to say
What?
we're talking about a very meaningful gift.
Oh.
We were talking about our time on Celebrity Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to ambush you like this, but there's been something that my friend Nick Kroll and I have been preparing for some time for you.
Really?
And I'm going to FaceTime him right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
And
I'm excited.
I think you're gonna like it.
Okay.
I'll keep him near my microphone.
Here, I'll put him right here. I can. Okay.
Let's see.
All right. Yeah. Let's get Nick.
Hey, Nick.
Hi, Nick. Wow.
Jimmy, how you doing?
Good. Where are you, Nick?
I'm at home. I'm work from home today.
Okay. All right.
You look like you're on a beautiful beach, Nick.
No, I'm at the Grove. I'm filling in for Mario Lopez.
Nick, thank you for doing this with me. You yourself put in a ton of time designing this gift, and so I am very excited for us to present it to Jimmy. Nick, so far I've clued the audience in that we had a difficult time with an Easter Island question.
Sure.
What they don't know so much is that you and I and Jimmy constantly text about Gene Simmons, the front man of Kiss.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that throughout the taping of Celebrity Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I was trying to slip in quotes of Gene Simmons's.
Right. Well, it's like Gene always says, you know, if anyone tells you they got into rock and roll for any other reasons than girls, fame, or money, they're full of SH. And I'm not going to say the rest of it because I know it's a family show, Jimmy.
Yeah. Thank you.
But Gene doesn't pull any punches.
No, he sure doesn't.
So, speaking of gifting people statues, Guillermo, would you bring this out?
Whoa, what is
This
this?
is both a tribute to you, thank you for the music, and to Easter Island, and to Gene Simmons.
I'm on Easter Island right now,
Nick,
guys.
sorry?
I'm back to the source. I went back to Easter Island for this.
He's at Easter Island now,
Okay.
and we're here to unveil your own Gene Simmons.
Wow. That is absolutely beautiful.
And Nick, do you mind if I read the inscription? He's
About to
frozen.
die, so please read it for everybody. We love you, Gene. We love you, Jimmy.
We love you, Gene. We love you, Jimmy.
On behalf of both of us, thank you, Nick. Yeah.
This is a really powerful quote from Gene. My mother is probably the wisest person I've ever known. She's not schooled, she's not well-read, but she has a philosophy of life that makes well-read people seem like morons.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you, Nick. Thank you very much, John Mulaney and Nick Kroll. Thanks for little Gene. Everybody's Live with John Mulaney, Wednesday night, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, live on Netflix. We'll be back with Jack Quaid. Guillermo, do you know how many subscribers we have on YouTube now?
20 million.
That's right. Yeah, that's why we're wearing these glasses. Thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not, help us get to 20,000,001.